The people in charge of our national security are in a group chat texting about it on a commercially available app. That's a crisis.
Say we're going to erase this and just focus on what white people have done. That's not what America is.
Have all of us had an email that's gone out that shouldn't have gone out, or a text that shouldn't have gone out? Yeah. It's usually not about bombing another country.
Let's hop into a CNN panel as they cover more of the never-ending chaos from the incompetent second Trump administration, from tearing down African-American museums to the signal leaks. We're going to talk about it all, so be sure to leave us a like. Helps the video out. We really appreciate it, and we'll get right into it.
President Trump signed an order this week in his war against woke. His latest executive order demands the removal of all, quote, divisive, improper, and anti-American ideology from famous institutions. First, he took over the Kennedy Center, as you remember. Now, Donald Trump wants to control the Smithsonian, the African American Museum, national parks, and the National Zoo. The executive order says it is for restoring truth and sanity to American history. But does this really just translate into whitewashing American history? We are going to discuss. First, to you, Torre.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about American greatness, and clearly he means white greatness, and we are erasing Black history. I mean, I didn't realize that the Smithsonian, the Black History Museum, was part, I mean, like, obviously, but I didn't read that yet, and it almost makes me want to cry, because that is such an incredibly important space. I took my children and my wife there, like, as soon as it opened, and, like, I studied AF/AM in college, and I learned a lot going through that museum.
It's truly heart-wrenching, and I don't think that can be overstated. America is being whitewashed in front of all of our eyes as white MAGA voters tell us to essentially deal with it. Attacking African-American history is not ridding of unfair DEI hires or destroying woke. It's whitewashing African-American culture, removing safe spaces for Black history and Black culture for the sake of white supremacy. For this administration to now take control of the Smithsonian, the African American Museum, after removing anti-discrimination executive orders and federal employment and housing, directing agencies to stop celebrating ethnic holidays like MLK Day, firing African American generals, it shows that there isn't a line that they aren't willing to cross in attacking African-American culture, which makes me as an African-American wonder how long before they start attacking us directly.
To say, we don't want to talk about the history of racism, that is part of American greatness. It's part of America's evil, but the way we have moved from enslavement to segregation to wherever we are now, or wherever we were a few years ago, is part of America's greatness, and it's part of America's real story. And to say we're going to erase this and just focus on what white people have done, that's not what America is.
It comes back to justification, not only on their attacks now on DEI, CRT, whatever it may be, Black culture and history, but even on things like reparations. Because if we erase the wrongs that America did, we whitewash the atrocious part that we played in slavery and racism, with Jim Crow, with segregation, and how a lot of the effects of this still exist today, from credit loans to job applications, it makes more sense than why we don't talk about the 40 acres and a mule that was promised but never delivered on. Why we attack DEI and affirmative action, where alternatively, if people understood these racist acts, the effects, how they still linger, how we still see these systemic disadvantages, then these anti-discrimination efforts begin to make more sense and become more justified.
Have all of us had an email that's gone out that shouldn't have gone out, or a text that shouldn't have gone out? Yeah. It's usually not about bombing another country. So, you know, when you're in that position, you have a heightened responsibility to the country, to the world, really. You know, when they say Hegseth is not doing a good job, I mean, if they're basing it on him putting someone on a tweet or a signal that he shouldn't have, I don't think that's fair. Because, as I said, so many people have done that. I don't think you could use this as a barometer to how they're going to react if, God forbid, a nuclear weapon is coming.
I do. I think you can.
Okay,
I'm going to raise my hand
I guess I'm in
here.
the minority.
I think you can. I also, Sarah Seidner, object to your premise. This is a crisis. What happened was a crisis. We don't have to wait for a crisis. It was a crisis that the people in charge of our national security are in a group chat texting about it on a commercially available app. That's a crisis. And then the spin after is yet another crisis.
Spot on. I mean, what kind of confidence is supposed to be inspired by the people in charge of the most powerful army in the world in a group chat? Not only just in this group chat, sending emojis, talking in all caps, saying acting like petulant teenagers excited about a football game, but now Also being too dumb to realize that they added an unapproved journalist who isn't even fond of their administration to the chat, as they were using an unsecure public app for the communication. It's so juvenile and unbelievable to actually have been our Department of Defense, leaders of the Department of Defense, that it's like I still can't wrap my head around it fully. It's so obviously something worth a firing. And to me, I think even more so than the act at times, the response, the unwillingness to fire those responsible, the instinct to lie and defend yourself rather than take accountability. We saw Pete Hegseth deny this, Tulsi Gabbard deny parts of this. It shows our national security is still in danger. It only continues to be in danger as there's nothing to prevent this from happening again. And if anything, now more steps are going to be taken to prevent this from getting out. We saw Pete Hegseth instinctually first go to lie, go to defame the journalist as if none of this happened. So self-preservation is over what's better for the country, for this administration. So if this happens again, who's to say they're going to let us know? Who's to say we're going to find out?